Here we are, the Happy Hogan's Podcast.
Here we are.
So today we are going to talk about what we have learned about Nashville, the good, the bad, the ugly, since we moved here in 2019.
And if other people are thinking about moving here or to the south or, in this area, this will be good information, just so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, we're here to inform you and give you a little bit of California, born and raised.
Or just West Coast to southern area.
To Tennessee. All right, I'm going to kick it off with a question for you, Haley.
Okay.
And this is just going to be a broad kind of question, but when you moved to Nashville, you probably had an expectation of what it would be like.
Yes.
And what was that expectation, and what was let's just do the expectation first, and then I'm going to ask you about the reality after that.
So the expectation moving to Nashville was like the TV show Nashville, right? Like we loved the TV show, and it was very, music based, but very community feeling, southern feeling, cute, fun, chill, and that was kind of my idea. I had a fantasized idea. And when we came, we had a lot of fun downtown, Broadway, exploring downtown areas, doing fun things. So that was kind of my expectation of fun, fun country spot in Nashville.
Okay, so that was your expectation. And now what was the actual cold hard truth of what it was like to move to Nashville? And I'm not just talking about when we got here, but now that we've been here for a while. Just give me a rundown.
Yeah. So, when we first moved down here, it was fun. Like there's ton of fun things to do downtown. I did not realize how dangerous it is downtown. Lots of gangs and violence and murders and burglaries and muggings and guns.
Yeah, the list goes on. If you look at a crime map, Nashville
has very high crime. It's one of the highest, or it's one of the top murder.
I think it's one of the higher crime rates in the country.
Yeah.
Or like a top 20. I think I saw it on the list.
Yeah, living downtown, we got to experience a lot of crime, essentially. Because I was working in an area where there were a lot of, drugs and gangs.
Yeah,
and so
you'll have a really nice house built next to
a crack house.
Yeah.
And so see a lot of drugs, see a lot of, sad things, but also a lot of dangerous things.
Yeah.
And luckily nothing happened to me or to us. We've never, been directly affected, but we've witnessed, a lot of dangerous things.
Yeah, and we have friends like Jack and Nina who got their house shot twice.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't say their names.
Well, sorry, Jack and Nina. They're probably never going to listen to this anyway. So, but they moved and sold the house because of what happened.
Right.
And so
got shot up twice.
Yeah. And then your friend got almost
sex trafficked. Yeah, she's a really cute, small little girl. Real cute.
Broad daylight.
Walking downtown, broad daylight. A guy in a suit came up next to her, grabbed her on the arm, put a gun to her side, essentially said, "Don't say anything, just walk with me, keep your mouth shut, whatever." Luckily, they were walking by, it was some sort of business or restaurant, and there was a hostess by the front door, and she just pulled out, ran, essentially risked her life. He could have shot her, I don't know, and ran into the, restaurant.
Yeah, there's a lot of sex trafficking in Middle Tennessee because of what?
All of the highways,
interstates?
Intersect here. So it's kind of like a hub where you can, kind of get to a lot of different areas from this area. So a lot of cities a lot of cities surrounding Nashville and Nashville.
Yeah, honestly, it's sad. It's a problem like that is a just global problem, but it's sad to live somewhere where you see consistent violence and kind of depravity and homelessness and drug use.
Yeah.
And we saw someone pull a gun on someone when we were in an Uber with my mom on the way to the Country Music Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And that was like a super scary instance where we were in the line of fire if they had started shooting at each other. Like, things like that aren't normal. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's not normal. And so to experience those things all within a short period of time is very weird.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked a lot
and
about...
And that's mostly downtown. If you get out of downtown in the country, very safe, very quaint.
But when you see Nashville TV show Songwriter, old little cute neighborhood, like Bluebird Cafe, and then you come here and you're like, well, the Bluebird Cafe is impossible to go listen or watch anything at, and you can't play there unless you have a connection or you try out, and that takes forever.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 or you could do open mic. And then... like, there's so many things that are very different than maybe the expectation of the West Coast person.
Right.
The thing I like, I'll talk about a positive, is the gas prices.
Gas prices are nice.
Yeah.
I still love those gas prices.
The gas prices are great.
Tax benefits, great. Freedoms we have here, great. Yeah.
Now,
open carry, great.
And concealed, and it's just constitutional carry.
Great.
But that could be great. It could be great, but also not great at the same time.
Okay, so music related. We moved here because you do music.
Yeah.
And it is Music City.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been DMing you, asking you, I'm a musician, I'm moving to Nashville. Can you give me some advice?
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
So the last DM I got, they basically said in like a paragraph, just moved to Nashville, looking to get a record deal. Essentially, that's like the question.
Okay.
Like, how do I become rich and famous?
Okay, so people think record deals that's the way to go.
Yeah, people think like, I'm going to move to Nashville and I'm going to get a publishing deal or a record deal. And if they know anything about the music business, they're going to understand that publishing companies are the ones that are now pouring into artists and doing artist development, and whereas labels aren't. So publishing companies are fostering talent.
Okay, why don't you shed some light on the realities of publishing deals, what you get paid, and record deals?
If you're getting, so it's all, every contract's different, but as a generalization for a first time publishing deal, you're going to get somewhere between, this is called the draw, you're going to get somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 per year.
Well, we know someone who's getting paid $10,000 a year for the publishing.
Oh yeah, we do.
So it starts at, you can get paid $10,000.
$10,000.
And that's like full-time writing?
Well, they are expecting you to do a certain amount of songs per year.
Okay, so depending on the songs.
So it depends on the deal. So if it's like 10 whole songs, well, if you're doing co-writes with 3 or 4 people, then you're only a quarter of that. So you need to do 4 co-writes to have 1 song. So it all depends on the split of how many writers are on the song. But in the publishing world, it's very radio forward. So they're looking for essentially people that are writing songs that could be commercial. But publishing is, like I said, now focusing on artist development. So they're really only signing people that they think they can get a record deal of, and then they're going to own their publishing. And then they're going to have, as that person gets successful and developed, and then they go in and they have label meetings and they sign with the label, the publishing company's playing the long game. So,
okay, essentially a publishing deal, you won't get paid very much. So if you get signed to a publishing deal, they can pay you $10,000 to $30,000 a year.
Yeah, as a first-time writer.
As a full-time, first-time writer, but full-time writer. So you have to have another full-time job in order to live in Nashville, pay your bills. So you're essentially working 2 full-time jobs to be a writer with a publishing deal.
Correct.
Right.
So you're expected that your job is a songwriter. Mm-hmm. Isn't that the dream, right? So many people come here like, I just want to be a songwriter. Mm-hmm. and then you realize there's no money in writing songs, and
right.
now with
and
streaming,
I think that's the reality. There's no money in it anymore, and so you're not getting paid.
So let's talk about the broader idea, because those questions.
Also talk about people want record deals, but do you know what happens when you get a record deal?
Yeah.
And how, some people we know have gotten record deals and they've been shelved for 5 years.
Yeah.
And so they're not allowed to do anything.
Over 5 years.
Yeah. And they're just sitting there, not allowed to do anything, signed to a contract.
Yeah. So it's the music business, right? It's a business.
And what will some record labels do to competitors?
Yeah, well...
sign them and shelve them, so they're not competition
If
anymore.
you have an artist that's similar to another artist, sometimes a label will sign them to take them... The same label will sign the artist that is like the artist that they have that's successful, and then not do anything with them, but they're locked in a contract. So signing a record contract, especially your first contract, and especially now, is a terrible decision.
Very risky. Extremely risky.
Yeah, it's very risky, and it's a 360 deal, which means they make revenue on everything that you make money on. Traditionally, you would get your touring, so ticket sales, and your merch. And you don't, now they take a huge percentage of everything that you do, and they're going to own the rights to your songs on a first time deal. Yeah. There's so many things that go into it. Now let's say that you had a hit before, or you're doing good, you can renegotiate contracts or pub deals and get a bigger draw and all of that kind of thing.
Right.
But
once you have some clout, you can negotiate. But as a newbie, your hands are tied a little bit.
And I've been really lucky to have some awesome people in my life and mentors that I've learned from, and I've been lucky in the sense that I've had meetings with multiple publishing companies and labels.
And you've learned a lot.
And I've learned a lot, and it's opened my eyes to the fact that the music business is all about money. That's what they care about.
Right. And will you...
And fast money.
Right. And how much does it cost to what is it when you release...
To break an artist?
Yeah, break an artist.
So this is a term that is used in Nashville. Break an artist. What that really means is try to get that artist to be famous. So we're going to break them, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's say there's an artist, John, and John is already famous, and John is on a record label, and this label has a lot of money, okay? John's killing it. He's selling out stadiums, arenas. John's on TikTok in your feed. You see John all the time, okay? All right. Well, let's say there's another guy signed to the label. His name's Trevor. Well, Trevor and John are friends, and they co-wrote together, and that's kind of how Trevor got the record deal. Well, the label decides, all right, we're going to take Trevor, and we're going to make him on the same level as John. So they have to spend $5 million, and it takes about 3 years to attempt to get Trevor to where John's at. So there's a lot of money that goes into it, and a lot of research, a lot of data from Spotify, from digital service providers on the back end to see what works, what doesn't, listener retention, looking at socials. It's very interesting. And then let's say Trevor's killing it. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to see Stacy. And Stacy was part of that 3 people that was writing songs a lot that John cut when he went famous. And then Trevor used some. And now Stacy is going to be their next project and their next $5 million. So this is what it takes, is money. And a publishing company that I know of has a joint venture with a label. So the label funds the publishing company to be able to do things. And then that publishing company will spend money on radio promoters. What is a radio promoter? Tell everyone.
Someone who's paid money to play your songs.
No, to promote your music, to get it played.
Oh, not like a radio host person?
No.
Oh, okay. No, so the radio promoter pays people, right?
No.
I thought
they're hired, and then they have relationships with companies such as Spotify, and they will go to Spotify and say, hey,
and pay them money.
What would it take, Spotify, to get you to play Stacy's song on the hot country playlist?
Right, I thought it was money.
Yeah,
and drugs.
so what they, well, you're not far from it. It's really bribery. It's payola, which is illegal, by the way.
What's payola? Is that a
payola
drug?
Is pay to play. So people would pay to have artists played on the radio stations, but payola, it became illegal. And then, so now there's radio promoters that there's like to get a single, like a number one, it's $1 million in radio promotions. That's what it costs.
Ugh.
That's the average cost. So if you want to make it, you're going to sell your soul in a deal, and then you're going to hope you don't get shelved. And your best course of action, in my opinion, to wrap this all up, is to dominate your market at home. And then come to Nashville like I was doing.
TikTok. Get big on TikTok.
Yeah, it's changed.
Social media.
It's changed
essentially
tremendously.
Build yourself to a place where you have some sort of, what's the word?
Because it really labels are saying people off TikTok now. Mm-hmm. TikTok, and
that's how publishing. Leverage.
That's how publishing companies are.
You want to have leverage. So
like who was doing real good on TikTok that got signed? Priscilla.
Oh, was she TikTok? I don't know.
Yeah, she did real good on TikTok. And then she got a record deal. My buddy's friend, it's funny, he got let go from his label, and the next week he had a song go viral on TikTok that he wrote, and then they wanted to sign him back.
That's funny.
But all they're looking for is fast cash.
Yeah. And
I want to reference the best time period of music. What do you think the best time period of music was?
70s? 60s and 70s?
60s and 70s.
Yeah.
We love to listen to what?
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah. Fleetwood Mac is a big favorite. My favorite band's the Eagles.
John Denver.
Yeah. John Denver. I was listening to him this morning. Nobody was thinking back then, what's going to perform well on Spotify? Like, what do I need to do on TikTok to hook people in the first 3 seconds?
Or social media.
Yeah. No one had their iPhone in front of them. They were like, I'm going to create art. Yeah. And I'm going to do what I believe in.
Yeah.
And that is where we looked now as songwriters to aspire to be like.
Yeah.
It was those guys back then. It's not a single and then you're dropped from the label. So it's such a weird time in the music business that I personally, as a musician, am doing something to make money. And then doing my own music freely. I can release it when I want, put it out on the internet. I can do whatever I want. I don't have anybody telling me what I can and cannot do. But I also don't have $1 million to take my song to radio. However, if I'm successful or I built a business that I could exit and we did something where we could have success on our own, theoretically, we could open our own label. And we could self-fund a label.
Correct.
Or have a venture with someone else that believes in the same thing. That's kind of like anti the machine.
Do you want to talk about an artist who you think did it right and really built out their career on their own? Cody Johnson in Texas?
Yeah, Cody. I think he did an amazing thing. In Texas, I think is it's a little snapshot of what I think LA was like in the 60s and 70s, which is places want you to play original music. In Nashville on Broadway, you're not allowed to play originals. It's mainly covers. You have to play covers. That's all it is.
It's just really entertainment for the tourists.
Yeah, for drunk people. You're playing music for drunk people that want to hear Morgan Wallen's latest hit. Mm-hmm. So Texas has its own circuit. There's the Texas circuit, and there's country artists from Texas, and there's like this red dirt thing, and there's a whole thing about it. But Cody Johnson started, I think he was in Rodeo in the documentary I watched about him selling CDs out of the back of his truck. And he slowly built his career in Texas, playing the Texas circuit, got to a point where he was making 7 figures a year and had no record deal, no record label. I'm pretty sure he was booking everything himself. I don't know the exact facts on that, but he got huge and played the Texas Rodeo, which is like, you don't just play the Texas Rodeo. Like, that's a huge thing in Texas. And then he got to the point where he actually signed with Warner in Nashville. But by the time he signed that record deal,
he has huge negotiating
power. He could come in and say, I want this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And they would say, totally. You got it.
Yeah.
Because he's already proven that he's
got the data to prove his
the real deal. And they're
and the money.
Yeah. Oh, you're making money? Then shoot. And I feel like this whole episode's turning into a music business thing, but it's something I'm so passionate about that I could talk about it forever.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears. Haley.
Yes.
You're a creative.
Yes.
What's it like being a creative in Nashville?
There's tons of creatives in Nashville. Musicians, photographers, videographers, artists. What else? What other
anything in the creative world?
Models.
There's a ton of.
Yeah. So
basically, assume that everybody's a creative and does something creative.
Yeah, and it's actually true. Like when you go and meet people in jobs, they're working these jobs, but they're actually here for something else, doing something else on the side. Everyone has side things.
It's a side hustle.
So we go to a gym and there's a model, a singer. They're working in the gym, but they're actually singers, songwriters, models, whatever, some sort of creative. Yeah. So in some aspects, that's cool. But I feel like there's a sense of a lot of like competition, which I feel like there should be more collaboration. There is collaboration. I feel like I've been a part of some really cool collaborations with photographers and models and,
But you went about it the right way because your intent was not to, like, what can I get from you?
Right. I was doing stuff that I wanted to do because I thought it was fun and I liked to do it. Yeah. So my motive was more like doing something creative and artistic and like, kind of like having fun with creativity. Yeah. And that's kind of what I like to do with it.
Yeah.
But I think the downside is people are very competitive with it also, like trying to undercut people with prices so they can get the photo shoot or, because there's, so much competition. So I think that's the downfall is, I guess like making money off of it, people can, kind of undercut you just because they want the photo shoot or whatever.
But let's talk about the fact that you get what you pay for.
Yeah, you also get what you pay for. So if someone's willing to do a photo shoot for $80, you're going to get...
They probably like maybe just got out of college and studied how to take pictures.
Yeah.
But they could have spent that 3 or 4 years taking pictures and they'd be a lot better than they were when they got out of college. Because that was a conversation I had yesterday with a guy that owns a huge construction company. He hired someone, they had just gotten out of college and the content wasn't good. And then he hired a studio in town, or a big production company. They were way expensive, wanted like $25,000 for a day, and like, I don't remember. Oh, he said I couldn't afford it, so I didn't go with him.
Yeah.
But I ended up hiring them for something else, and they're going to do it in a couple weeks, and it was way cheaper because he did a very short amount of time with them.
Yeah, and I think with collaboration instead of competition, like you will benefit more from collaborating with other people than competing. Yeah. Because when you have friends in your same industry, you can help each other out. So if you need to borrow a lens, if you need to borrow a camera body, if you need to borrow a light or whatever, you can help each other out. Yeah. If they have photo shoots they can't take, or you have photo shoots you can't take, you guys can say, oh, you want this project? You want this project? You can refer each other different clients, and so you actually benefit more from collaborating with people rather than making it like a competition.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. What was that?
My pill.
Oh, did you take it?
No, I take it at 1.
Oh, do you have it in your pocket?
No, I'll take it when I get home.
Oh. What was I gonna say? Oh.
That's one of the biggest things you've learned was
Yeah,
collaborating?
one of the biggest things I've learned is, no, do things and don't expect, like, do things out of the goodness of your heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, do something for someone to help them because you want to help them.
Not because you're trying to get
So
something.
what I learned for, like, the music business is, like, I'd meet with someone and it's like, I have one shot. What can I get from this person? Like, okay, I'm going to meet with them. Like, instead of being like, hey, it's great to meet you. Glad we could talk. Thanks for your time. It would be like, so what does someone got to do to be able to get signed with you? Like, you know, or like all these stupid questions that I would ask. And that was a huge learning experience. It's like go into something with the expectation to just form a relationship. And then that in return through the long run is going to come back and pay you back. Doing something for someone because you want to help them.
Yeah.
Like authenticity. That's big. Like all DM artists that are on the come up or doing good. Like there's a dude that I knew that from where we're from that's killing it now. And I DM'd him and I said, hey man, really stoked for you and like proud of you and your success. And I didn't hear back, but whatever. But I still do that because I believe in music and artists and creatives. And I want to tell people like, hey, you're doing awesome. You just got signed. Like you deserve it. Like I'm stoked for you. Go kill it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the attitude we need to have on the creative side.
Yeah. Because everyone's different and unique. So you really can't compete because no one is exactly the same. If you're trying to be the same as someone else, you're not being yourself.